Welcome to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. Once again, we're doing this from the home studio, so we're virtual. We appreciate everyone for hanging with us. We definitely hope you and your families, your teams are all remaining safe and healthy. We're honored to have with us a good friend, but he's the Chief Motivation Officer. He is an author, a speaker. You are going to be filled with wisdom and all sorts of amazingness from our good friend, Stuart Lloyd Cohen. So, Stuart, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great. I'm great, Jeremy. And I need to say great because we're all in this together. And, you know, it's one thing when the cameras go on and I talk to you and I talk to our neighbors here. It's all together. Another when cameras go off, when we sit around the table, you know, with our loved ones, we say, wow, what is going on here? At the end of the day, Jeremy, though, when we're out in public and we talk to each other, it's about smiling, positivity. If we need to keep a 6-foot social distance, we can still have a 6-foot smile. So that's kind of like where I'm hanging right now.
Nice. I like that. A 6-foot smile. Talk about on your end, because I look at this as an opportunity. You know, we talked off camera, off mic, where we can take this as an opportunity to easily get discouraged, or we can take this as an opportunity to grow ourselves personally, professionally, spiritually. And I look at this as an opportunity to really dive in and try to better ourselves. And so share from your vantage point. One, let's start with a little bit about just who you are, especially as a speaker. So talk about the things you like to do when you're out on stage. And obviously a lot of that is pivoting right now with the in-person events now shifting to more of the virtual. But share a little of the things that you like to go out there and talk a lot about when it comes to the speeches and the presentations.
Yeah. What I love to do, Jeremy, is to connect with my audience, whether it's 10 people or 3,000, is make sure I look everybody in the eyes and be sincere, be authentic, and be a leader, be an influencer. And then whatever that audience is there to receive, I deliver so that they leave transformed, so that they come in that room with an expectation that I overfulfill. And when they leave that room, they're like, man, I feel good and I have stuff to do. It's one thing, I can make you laugh, I can make you happy that you're here, and oh, that guy Cohen, he was all right. But I want you to do something. My wife and I, we like to call it baby steps, small steps, small steps. Sometimes taking those big leaps, you can get a sprained ankle if you leap too far, too high. Baby steps. So the way I see this now, and just so you know, I'm supposed to be in Jamaica right now doing a gig, a mastermind. On Monday, I'm supposed to be in Cancun. My business right now, as most of us are experiencing, it's disintegrated, if not postponed. So it's impacting all of us. So that's what I like to do. When I get the call and someone is trusting me to do a sales retreat or a conference, whatever it may be, I want to be a beacon of hope, of humor, of reality, of inspiration, motivation. And it's not just like I said, oh, he was great, what's next? No, I'm going to do those 2 things, 3 things. I'm not that guy that says take home 1 nugget and do it. No, it'll give you a lot of good stuff to do. Put it to work, but make it your own. Own it. You don't have to do yoga like me. You don't have to run marathons like me. No. Whatever it is that makes you fulfilled and makes you happy and makes you grow, do it. That's my job.
I know that one of the topics on your end is empathy. That's something that you like to talk a lot about. Kindness, leadership, obviously. I'll let you kind of dive in, but obviously we have kind of an open floor, open segment on this end. But let's start with empathy in terms of now I think is a time to bring us together, to be more understanding. And like you said, whether it's the business drying up and having to face that reality, or a different dynamic with kids at home now, there's a level that we can all be more understanding of each other. So talk about empathy from your standpoint.
Yeah, it's a great topic right now, and I'm glad this is what our focus is going to be. I went out for a bike ride yesterday. Even through the fog of the pollen, I went out. That should be our biggest problem. And as I head out, I said, I'm going to wave and say a big, sincere hello to everybody on my path. Some people gave it right back to me. They were feeling it. Some people were a little surprised. Wow, but I hope I made a positive impact. I look at Facebook, for instance, and I see people are struggling, obviously. And I see people in business who are saying, oh, our business dried up. What are we going to do? I hope the government's going to provide this kind of stuff. And I'm not getting all political here. However, I see some people sort of putting out hope, putting out positivity, being a positive energy source, being selfless versus selfish, putting out the good vibes versus a pity parade. Now that's strong, Jeremy. So I as a speaker and as a business coach or a general coach, sometimes I need to say things that people need to hear but don't necessarily want to hear. But when we, and I'm not selling anybody short that you're in a tough situation now. But sometimes when we can take the focus off of us, okay, sometimes we are healed faster when we help somebody else. And just yesterday, somebody's name came to mind. And this is happening all day long. Send a text, because that's the way we communicate now. And it turns out, because I knew his wife was about to have a baby. And he responded right back, and he was hoping. It turns out I woke up this morning, his wife was in labor in that very moment, early. I had no idea, and it was good news. So we have good news happening all around us. We have babies being born. Those flowers are popping up right now. And I think the first step we need to take, if we're feeling the chaos, if we're feeling the misery, is to shield ourselves. We like to, like you, right? We like to surround ourselves with positive people, because sometimes when we're around negative people, in general, whether it's today or 2 months ago, we end up getting the life sucked out of us sometimes. We get sort of sucked into this downward spiral, and we want to be down there. We want to be up here. Yeah. So we have to deflect that. We try to be supportive. Some people don't want our support. Some people do. So coming back to the social media thing, to me, I don't think you're going to get many followers when you start a sort of a pity parade kind of a thing, whether you're in business or not. And understand that when you put that post out there, that you're influencing people. Everybody is an influencer. Whether you are a CEO of a company, a manager, a frontline worker, in the service business, a parent, you're an influencer. What you say, what you do is being watched and judged. Do I want to emulate that person, or do I not want to emulate that person? I'll have these different behaviors, Yeah. And that's who we choose to hang around with.
Well, what's interesting is just even, with your thoughts there, one is the idea, like you said, of just sending text messages, but now more than ever, using things like Facebook Live. And so, checking in with somebody face to face, and just a quick check-in using Facebook Live becomes a powerful way. Obviously Zoom, how we're doing this through the video conferencing, so you can still maintain the connectivity, but just to check in and doing it with an authentic, hey, I want to check in and see how you're doing. And it doesn't have to be a long conversation. It can be a very short, but keeping that sort of connectivity. And then to your point, just understanding that what you consume can consume you. And so if you're consuming negative energy, that can consume you. And so being mindful of the news you watch and how it's affecting you, the people you're surrounding yourself with, maybe not necessarily in person, but online perhaps. So just being mindful of protecting your energy is a very powerful way to make sure that you're still maintaining a positive trajectory with everything you're doing each and every day.
Yeah. You want to be that candle. What is the Buddha says that a single candle can light 1,000 candles, and that original candle won't. You know what I'm saying here? That we have such a ripple effect now. And so if I was to really look, I was going to say 100,000 foot view, although not many people are flying right now. I would say this is a leadership moment for us all. Whether I'm talking business or personal, leadership moment. You and I connected to do this. This is not what we would normally be doing in the other world, but we're doing this because we want to give lift, we want to give back, and And we have our own issues, situations we're dealing with, and our concerns for our family and friends. And we're choosing to stay on the side of not being apathetic, but being empathetic, giving that empathy to people and saying, hey, I hear you. I understand. How can I help? What can I do? What words can you hear from me? Because sometimes it's just the word. If I can't give you a hug, and Jeremy, I don't know about you, but this is real tough for me because I'm a hugger, and I can't do it right now.
I know, virtual hugs, it's tough. So what do you think on your end? I mean, one, maybe it's just more a matter of your personal, how are you managing through this, mentally and physically and spiritually, but what would you offer up as encouragement to make the best of this time, to, like you said, this is a leadership moment for all of us. How can we lead through this?
Yeah. First and most important is the self-care thing, because we're no good to anybody if we're not balanced, if we're not centered. And if you're spiritual, I hope you are. So everyone's spiritual in their own way, whoever your higher power is. It's time to have some alone moments. Get all your thoughts, separate, disconnect for as long as it takes. Meditate. Meditating is incredibly powerful. Now there's no better time than to shut off the news and the cell phones and get back and restore your balance. Because you're going to be no good for somebody if you're off kilter, if you're off balance. And if you don't meditate, get out, go for a walk, get on the bicycle, do something where you can get inside yourself and say, okay, let's just tweak this. It's about love. It's about love. It's not about anger. It's not about scarcity. Goodness knows, probably everyone's got more than enough toilet paper for the next year. We have everything we need. And I hope you do. And I hope if there's somebody who doesn't have what they need, food, medication, that they're reaching out to the people who can deliver that. But right now, I think we're so blessed in this country. We have so much. So number one is self-care so that we can be good to other people. So when we walk out of the house, we sit down at the table with our family, or we fire up the FaceTime and we got our family all tuning in and we're playing at Scrabble long distance or playing some of these fun, I just see such beautiful things happening, Jeremy. Families.
Virtual happy hours and all sorts of stuff popping up.
Yes. There's some great, beautiful things happening that everyone was too busy to do before. Number two is making sure that you are that beacon and reaching out. Instead of putting out the poor pity me, help me, who can I help? Whether it's volunteering, which is kind of tough to do now in a group setting, but doing it one-on-one, making that phone call to that older person, let's say, who is stuck in the house. I'm calling my mom every day. She's in good health. However, she's in her late 70s. She's at high risk. We got to keep their spirits up, right? Be that leadership. Be a beacon of hope. And I think the keeping in the game with our mind and our body. I mentioned it before. If it's yoga, I love doing yoga. Do you do yoga?
I do. Not a lot, not as much as I should, but yes.
Whatever it is, make it the new habit. It's so funny. Some of us keep journals. Or some of us, we start the year with our to-do list. It's like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And most of us don't complete those things. There's no better time right now than to look at that list and say, you know what? I can start cooking. I can start making that recipe I've always wanted to make. Let's do some. I see people cooking. People are cooking. There's food flying off the shelves. I'm like, hallelujah. People are learning how to cook a chicken, your roasted chicken. And that's a great skill to have. And, whether it's business or personal, read that book that's been on your shelf that man, that book's going to transform your life. There's a couple of sentences in there. You're going to be, holy cow. So I've been on this. In fact, I just finished Tattoos of the Heart by Father G.
Nice.
And I can't tell you how moved I am from that, how it's impacted my life. And then I would say, finally, the we don't know when, and we talked about this before, the hardest part for us all is not knowing when that time is, Is there anything we could be doing now so that when we get the call, come on in to work, instead of going, back to the grind, we have a new attitude, a gratitude attitude. Boy, am I glad that job is back, because there's a lot of people who don't right now. And I'm going to go in with a new attitude. I'm going to be in with that smile. And I'm not going to say, oh, sorry, I'm late, I hit traffic. No, I left early to make sure I'd make it in time for traffic. I'm going to contribute in that meeting. I'm going to be more pleasant to my coworkers and my colleagues. What can we do now so that when that call comes, right, Jeremy, that call's going to come. Okay, back to normal. Boom. It's not a shock. We're ready. We will embrace it versus say, no, I don't want to go back. It's up here and it's in here.
I like that, the way you phrase it too, that it's internal and then it's external. It's all and spiritual. And then it's also to the attitude of gratitude. I think that shapes it very nice in terms of what people can be doing. And to your point, then sharpening the saw, taking time to read those books, do those things that have for a long time been on your list of things that you want to do, your dreams. Take this as the opportunity to start pursuing those.
Absolutely. 100%. I think we're going to see some great growth despite the hardships, despite the suffering, and despite families who are losing loved ones. We understand that. I think we're going to see some tremendous growth. I see amazing posts. See, this is when social media can really give us lift. We can be inspired by others who are doing crazy stuff, fun stuff that we want to emulate. We want to do that leadership moment thing. And for parents too, this younger generation. And when I say younger, I would, say men and women who did not experience 9/11, for instance, and, another catastrophic event. They're looking at us as leaders. Is it going to be okay? And I think one of the most important things that I hope comes out of this in terms of growth is gratitude. Gratitude and generosity. I like to use those two, and generosity, because when you have a gratitude attitude, a heart of gratitude, and you're generous, you're like, no, have some of my time, have some of my food, whatever that looks like. It changes your person. And I think all young people, not just this generation, all young people they reach a fork in the road. Am I going to be that generous person and grateful for what I have, not focused on what I don't have? Or am I going to be, I'm going to go collect toys and stuff and see, it's making about money and greed and lust and, all the vices, the virtues. What a great pivoting point, not only for business, to say, we never established a loyal client base. Now we're in trouble. And a person. Boy, where are all my friends now? Nobody's coming to me, and I need love now. Well, maybe I didn't give enough love. I wasn't generous and gracious then. Because when you are, it hurts sometimes to give. It takes a lot of energy to smile, to hug somebody, but it comes back to you. It does.
Well, and I like, once again, how you phrase this. It's a chance for us to pivot, to be introspective, reflect, get to know ourselves better, but also to make those pivots where necessary. This is one of those where we could go on and on and on because you're a wealth of information, but tell listeners where they can go to learn more, to follow all the good energy that you push out. So website, social media, where do we go?
Well, my personal Facebook page is Stuart Lloyd Cohen, Lloyd. You're wondering, why is he using his middle name? Well, that's because there's a lot of Stuart Cohens out there. One living local too, so that's the only thing I can make it so it's different. Stuart. Oh, it's right up there in case I forget my name. And my website, of course, stuartloydcohen.com. And mind you, I'm taking this opportunity to rebuild my marketing, to rebuild my, to go, sometimes in business we forget hey, it's been a year. I haven't gone back and look, what can I change on my website? Well, I can't wait, man. I'm rewriting it, putting up new videos. So it's there. Just wait to see what it's going to be. But that's where I can be followed. And I love hearing from people. I love hearing stories from our community, Jeremy, like you do. You're so into this community helping. I'd love to get feedback and hear good news and sometimes even sad news if some people need to share what's heavy on their hearts. Sometimes that release is very important because I know there's a lot of people in chaos right now, but that's where I'm at.
Well, Stuart, greatly appreciate all you do, and definitely love having you on the show. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, Jeremy.